Okay, let me just share my screen as well. Share screen. I think although you guys know this already, because quite a few people were asking me about this. For the reduce the volume. So, for example, this one. Now, this is actually a new version of the Meta Protocol Assistant. This is actually a new version of it. And this one is specifically designed to get your protocol accepted first time around. Meta Protocol Assistant 4.0, but this is actually 5.0 in reality. And it's quite straightforward. It does the protocol for you for the most part. You do have to do a little bit on the website. You have to basically usually give what elements. And now it no longer gives you the intro, deliberately remove that. So you have to literally do your own intro, which is not very difficult to write. And then you can do obviously your search. Okay, you can do your search and you can do reduplicate, but we'll not go into that. We'll start with our online stories first. This is a new story. The Scholar's Dilemma, Trials in Truth and Turmoil in Ancient Baghdad. So there's only a few of us. You guys can unmute yourself. Yeah. So this is about risk of bias. Baghdad, 9th century. Yuval al-Razi, a physician. Oh, by the way, I'm joined by Naji Ahmed, who's my 11-year-old daughter. We're interested now, has a very strong interest. 12-year-old daughter who's got very strong interest in meta-analysis. Actually, she does a lot of videos. Anyway, so you are Al-Razi, a physician at the House of Wisdom. Famine and disease spreading through the city, and people are desperate. You've been asked with evaluating studies on new herbal remedy. As you work late, you fall asleep. And dream of vast desert under a dark sky. A voice echoes, seek truth or the sand will bury it. So proceed cautiously evaluating each study in depth or combine findings to conclude quickly due to the... Oh, wait. I think we're not sharing the right screen. 1 second. I just realized. Can you share? Actually, just let me just share my whole screen. That'll make life easier. Then let me admit Sandra. Okay. Let me go back to the story. So you are Al-Razi, a physician in the House of Wisdom. Famine and disease spread to the city and people are desperate. You're asked evaluating study a new herbal remedy. As you work late, you fall asleep and dream of a vast desert under a dark sky. A voice echoes, seek truth or the sand will bury it. Which one do you do? Proceed cautiously, evaluating each study in depth, or combine the findings to quickly conclude due to the crisis? Guys, which one? Come on, unmute yourself and tell me. Guys, the silence is deafening. Let's see. Anybody said anything in the chat? Okay, let me unmute people. Asked to unmute. Asked to unmute. Asked to unmute. Guys, there's only a few of us, so you'll have to shout out the answers. Okay? Yeah? No, that's fine. Guys, which one? Which option? Proceed cautiously, evaluating each study in depth, or combine findings to conclude quickly due to the crisis?
Proceed cautiously.
Proceed cautiously. Okay, then to make you wake with the word seek truth resonating in your mind, determine you choose to apply a rigorous framework. 1 second, let me just... guys, can Cynthia, can you just keep an eye on who's in the waiting room? Let them in. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I seek truth, resonate, determined. You apply a rigorous approach using that Newcastle Ottawa scale. Now, this is used for observational study sets like case cohort studies, anything that is not a randomized controlled trial, usually is Newcastle Ottawa scale. There's also Robbins, but Newcastle Ottawa scale is the easier to use. Leila, your mentor, notes approvingly. Remember Al-Razi. She says the easiest path often hides the deepest pitfalls. What do? You focus on study selection methods, how the studies were selected, comparability of the studies, or outcome assessment on each study? Which one should you do? Guys, what's the answer? Come on, chop chop. Who's got an answer here? Hmm? What? Nobody's giving me an answer. Guys, come on. It's supposed to be interactive exercise. Uh, Which one? What, you want to do comparability? So study selection. Okay, somebody said study selection. Okay, fine. You first focus on study selection, noticing biases. One study only included wealthy patients, another only the young. You dream of a mirror, distorts your reflection, a reminder that partial view conceals the full truth. So this is a problem within observational studies, that you basically, a lot of times, let's say you're in a tertiary center, and so the patients might be from uh, who were ended up referred to that center, and therefore they might be biased in certain ways. So in this case, for example, they said wealthy patients, or the area is full of young people. Let's say just as in the studies in the student area. Yeah. Okay. Do you reject studies with poor selection criteria? Include all studies but note their limitations, guys. What do you do? Okay, I've been given an answer. Include all studies but note their limitations. Okay, I'm going to click that one. Oh. You decide to include all studies, notice biases to ensure transparency. That is correct. You don't exclude studies. You just say, well, this is the flaw. Layla notes, proving you honor the pursuit of knowledge by acknowledging its limitations. That night, you dream of a library filled with shadowy figures reading by candlelight, guides on the path to truth. Now, what do you do? Continue to focus on comparability, or continue to focus on outcome assessment? Comparability or outcome assessment? Which one do you guys want to do? Outcome. Okay, somebody said outcome. You evaluate outcome. Outcome means whatever the results. Yeah, you some studies rely on visible symptoms, others on patient reports. A dream shows you two faces, one clear, one masked, warning. The incomplete truth is danger. So basically, some person might evaluate, oh, this is this patient actually did have a cough. Another might say that the patient no, actually no. One might rely on something that is visible, which is more accurate. Yeah. So, for example, let's say the actually checking the weight, or the other one says, well, the patient told me his weight. Yeah. So, prioritize study with objective outcome measures, or include all studies by account for outcome assessment biases. Which one, guys? One or two? Outcome. Somebody said outcome. Include all. Okay, yeah, include all. Correct. You note that the outcomes are biased because they're taken in different ways, but there's Lala places appreciates your balanced approach. That night you dream of a balanced scale, a sign of justice and integrity in your work. Do you proceed to finalize your findings? Yes. You submit a balanced report. You praise your integrity. You help the House of Wisdom make cautious recommendations. Yeah, your dedication and truth led to safe living recommendation. You're honored at the House of Wisdom for uploading the integrity of research. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Now, shall we do a block it, guys? Where's my block gone? No, I'll just bring up our blocket. Being advised by my main advisor that I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. Now, people complained that there were very few questions last time. So this time I've got 27 questions. Okay. And now we'll do host.
What mode?
Game mode, guys. Which game mode? Guys, which game mode do you guys want? Quest. Candy.
Okay, Candy Quest.
Candy Quest. Okay, we have chosen Candy Quest. So, sneaky learning.
Good.
Huh? Yeah, so host.
You have to do the time.
Yeah, time. 1 second.
How long should we do it?
Shall we do 5 minutes or 7 minutes? Which is better? Guys, how am I long? 5 minutes, 7 minutes? 5. Okay, everybody's saying 5 minutes. Okay, that's fine. Let's go down to 5 minutes. Oh,
What did it?
I don't know what I did. Where it disappeared to? Oh, yeah, here. 5 minutes and allow late joining.
Don't do randomly.
Okay, let's not do randomly. Host now. All right, guys.
It's
Again,
gonna put thing in. Just that's
yeah,
the
play the.
ID. You have to put the ID in.
Yeah.
Wait, no one can see the thing now.
Oh, no, no, no. We've got to begin.
No, you have to.
Oh, admit. Yeah, no, I'll do it for this one. Okay, let's see how many people are in the thingy. Admit Kareem. One, two, three, four, five. So we need a fifth person. Kareem, can you join in? Kareem, are you joining? All right, let's start. You can join like Club Pumpkins, collect candy, take candy from others, 5 minutes wins. Good luck. Talk. See. Very good. Now we lead. Surya is on the lead. Are you guys understanding the questions? It's a bit tougher. What I'll do is to show you you calculate this. Yeah, and for this one, not the case one, this one, cohort studies usually to do. So the selection, how are they selected? Is it representative? Is it, are you sure that this was the present storm? So the comparability, are they comparable? And the outcome. These are the three elements. Although it's divided up into multiple questions, but in reality, it's mainly selection. How were the patients selected? Are they comparable? And are the outcomes similar or different? How was this assessed investment? Was it long enough? Was it adequate for long? Just so this sort of series of questions. Let's see, going back to this. 2 more minutes. If you guys need have questions. Okay, let's go back to this one. Okay. Joanne is in the lead. One more minute. One more minute. Okay, very well. Let's see if somebody else is coming in. Oh, Kareem, you're not taking part in the game. Hmm. Just let me finish the game. So it's Lilian, Suyan, Cynthia, Sandra, and Joanne. Yay. Okay, final standings. Cynthia, yay. Guys, any questions? Guys, any questions? Any questions? Has somebody entered the waiting room? Oh, let me. Okay, Sandra managed to. Guys, any questions so far before we move on to the next story? So just to show you again, the Newcastle Ottawa skill. Now, there's a reason I'm not going into this into too much into detail, and you realize why. Because I've got a GPT that does it for you. We'll go into that in a minute. Okay, here's another story. The Scholar's Dilemma, The Shadows of Bias in the Belgian Congo. The Belgian Congo Free State, 1902. You're Dr. Kamau, a Congolese physician invited by a Belgian medical official, Dr. Lambert, to evaluate a new quinine therapy for fever outbreaks. Your mission is to review their research and ensure its accuracy, but there are rumors of hidden biases in the study. Late at night, you dream of a murky river and a voice whispers, "In shadows, truth fades." Okay, so what do? Begin the review by examining study selection or start by assessing treatment procedures? Guys, which one? This is about one. Okay, five. Okay, so this is risk of bias one. Now, risk of bias is in randomized control trials, and it basically was invented by Cochrane and looks at uh, multiple different things in each study, like about the randomization done properly, or the outcomes done properly, or selection done properly, the usual, but in much more detail. Okay, so you guys had study selection. You examine the study selection. Only workers from one plantation were included. Most were young men. Dr. Lambert insists they're represented enough. You feel uneasy. You challenge the selection bias and suggest broader criteria, or you proceed but make a note of this bias. Which one, guys? Which one should it be? Challenge the bias or so number two. So number two. So say you proceed but make a note of this bias. Okay, try that. You notice selection seems relieved. That night dream a locked or barrier between you and complete understanding. Oh, maybe that was the wrong thing. But performance bias. Yeah, next one. Investigate the treatment procedures. Dr. Lambert personally administered the treatment. Local villagers was informed to likely save their lives. You realize this influenced their reports because Dr. Lambert gave the treatment, and they biased them by saying, "Oh no." So this is where they are blinding. So because if you know you're given the treatment and then you're taking the then whether it's a placebo or the drug, then it will affect the way you behave toward the patient. The double blinding means you're blinded, the person giving the drug, and the patient themselves is blind because sometimes the patient might know what the treatment is. So, should we suggest blinding the study participants or note the lack of blinding? Yeah, okay, we blind the study participants. Okay, fine. He agrees, symbolizing your effort, your blindfold, symbolize effort of the unbiased. Move to detection bias. So you have to examine how outcomes were assessed. Dr. Lambert recorded improvements by himself without involving any external observers. His judgments may be influenced by his hopes for the treatment success. Ooh. So this is again, outcome must be assessed independently. Yeah. So insist on using independent outcome assessors or notice detection bias and continue. Which one, guys? Insist. Yes. Reluctantly, Dr. Lambert agrees to have external observers evaluate the outcomes. That night, you dream of a pair of clear eyes in the sky, symbol of courage, vigilance in observing the truth. Next, examine the reporting bias. You look into the reporting bias. You note only positive results include the file report, negative reactions omitted. Dr. Lambert explains failures are best left out to highlight the successes. Challenge the selective reporting uh, or note this as a reporting bias and proceed to finalize your review. Which one? Okay. And at full transparency. Okay. He begrudgingly agrees that all the results will be reported. You dream of an open book, every page, a sign of honesty and openness. Yay. And do you submit your report? Yes, you do. Congratulations, Dr. Kumar. Your integrity and dedication to unbiased research are recognized, and your report sets a high standard for ethical research. Your legacy protects lives and honors the truth. Yay. Okay, we're gonna do one more block here. This is about risk of bias. Oh. All right, which game, guys, this time? I didn't do champion this time. Fishing Frenzy, Tower Defense, Racing, Classic, Factory, Crypto Hack, Pirate's Voyage. Guys, which one? Tower Defense. Tower Defense 2. Is there Tower Defense 1? There's only Tower Defense 2. Okay, fine. Post. Let's see if you guys can get it. Let's see, guys. Come on in. And I said, what's coming? Kareem, are you joining? Kareem. Kareem. No? He's just listening, I think. Okay. All right. Is that everybody? Everyone wants to join? Oh, yeah. So we'll start. We'll probably stop after 5 minutes. Oh. What I'll do is I'll display risk of bias one for you guys. Hmm? Hmm? Okay, so let me just get that. It is just so risk of bias too, guys. So it's basically sequence generation, allocation to see. So it's hidden. What is the hidden? How are they randomized? How was it hidden, this randomization? Were some results reported selectively? Other sources of bias? Then detection bias, where the assessor's blinded, where the data incomplete. Yeah. But although we're going to do this, you don't really need to know this, and I'll show you in a minute why. Sorry. What is controlling? Why is controlling for bias in this? All right, 3 more minutes. Guys, how you doing? Okay, we're going to stop in 40 seconds. Okay, 30 seconds, guys. Only 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to stop now. Let's see how you guys did. Joanne was first, Suyan was second, Madam Yas was third. Very good. Very good. Okay. Any specific questions, guys, about this before I show you how you can save time doing this? Now, this is our old friend ChatGPT. Now, within ChatGPT, you can actually go into the public GPTs and find all these millions of GPTs I've done. But I'm actually interested in this one, the Newcastle Ottawa scale one. So you guys go into ChatGPT and find 786 M3 Newcastle Ottawa risk of bias. Yeah. And then what I'll do is, and you guys need to do this with me, is let's say I find a paper and then I do observational study. So any observational study I will do. So I'll do, let's say, an observational study. Oh, why is observational study not coming up? Observational. Let's say I want to pick an observational study. Here she comes up, but for today it's not coming up for some reason. Okay, let's say I take this one, and what I do is I'll pick it. Oh, it's because I've put this on this meta-analysis filter. See, see, it works quite well. So it's my own fault. I put my filter on. Ah, here it is. This is a large-scale study called Washout, for example. Oh, this doesn't have an open access version. But you guys just find an observational study, any observational study. This one first. BMJ open. This should be fine. So I take this study. Now there are two ways of doing this. I could just actually put the website in. That should work. And I go to Mr. ChatGPT, and I don't have to say anything. It knows what to do. Yeah, guys. And this will do the Newcastle auto for me. And then they say, "Do you want the full?" And I say, "Yes, I do." I'll give myself 5 stars. Okay, now this is now doing the full study for you. It's giving the different stars that are needed. So it's saying, now this is very important because this is actually designed not to do the whole task for you in reality. It's actually supposed to help you do it. So this one gives you, oh, is somewhat representative of the cohort, the study for CVC documentation, and it tells you why they were all drawn from the same community. Exposure was tracked, so that's good. So these got 3 stars. The data was good here, and then comparability gets 1 star, not bad. Outcome evaluated through so the outcome evaluated through record linkage, so it's reliable outcomes. Advocate follow up, completeness and follow-up was complete. So low risk of bias overall. Okay, now, oh, Rosie entered the wait here. Let me let Rosie in. Now here, okay, so you can now it's giving you these different options I've created. So let's say tabular form. This is both very important. Tabular form. The total number of stars that you get in Newcastle Artois is, I think, about 9. Yeah. You have to check this carefully because it can get a little bit wrong because Newcastle Artois is quite a weird scale. But it's okay. It's given you this. Now I want quotes. This is the most important bit. Well, how did you do it? Direct quotes. Okay, so first of all, this explains. This is very important. Yeah, I found this very, very useful. So the study is from multiple hospitals, so it's somewhat representative. The pre-intervention group, a similar control sample. Very good. The effect of documentation is assessed through direct linkage. Okay. Give me quotes for all. Yeah. And this is going to give you, this is really, really helpful. And what you can do is give me precise quotes. Because I want. Oh, link. So what I do is there's a way around this because it's being naughty. So what I do is I upload the article to it. Then it can give me exact quotes. Oh no, no, this is footage. So I've given the wrong one. Okay, don't worry. Anyway, but guys, do you understand this? Any questions about this? Can you guys do this, please, as an exercise? I want you to do this. I want to take an observational data set, put into this GPT, and do your risk of bias. Guys? Any issues with that? Come on. Any questions about this? No? What I want one of you to do is to share your screen and show me how you've done it. Come on, guys. How many stars is out of? Guys, come on, guys. So find the GPT and do the exercise. Find an observational study and put it in. See, it gives you some really nice stuff. Yeah, and but the best thing to do is to give it the PDF. Give it the PDF of the file. That will make it really good. But it gives you everything, a bit of everything. Yeah. In the meantime, I can while you're doing this, we can show you a Canva video about risk of bias. While you guys are doing this important work. Let me show you the risk of bias one. There it is. Found it. Risk of bias. Ah, come on, turn on. And oh yeah, my daughter will think. The studies. So risk of bias can happen because how the study is planned, how the data is collected, how risks are shared. And Newcastle Ottawa or risk of bias one or two can use look at that risk of bias. Yeah. Guys, did you manage to do the exercise? Any issues? The silence is deafening. So yeah, did you manage to do the exercise? Joanne? You just have to find a paper and put it into it. Guys? Cynthia, Suyang, Joanne, did you guys manage to do it? Rosie?
Yes.
You did. Very good. And did you get some good results? Now, this is not designed to basically do it for you, but interestingly enough, it's very accurate. It's shockingly accurate. I've done Cochrane stuff for years, and this is very, very accurate. The risk of bias it does is really good. Like I'll even say things like, "Oh, some of the authors were taking money for industry and stuff like that," and I was like, a bit shocked actually when I first saw this. It does it really well. Yeah, and it explains how it did each one. But that's why I always ask for quotes. Yeah, and but it usually explains why it made the decisions quite carefully. But if you give it the PDF, it'll give you the quotes as well, the exact quotes, and that's very, very helpful. Yeah, so that's one more aspect of it. Okay, now let's show you. So that's one GPT. Now there's another one, which is now do you every one that you can think of. So the alternative is something called Robbins. Now Robbins is the much more sophisticated for observational data sets. And you can put it in, and that will do it for you. See, now it's doing the Robin's eye tool, which is a bit more sophisticated. Now, Robin's eye is harder look, is saying this study is not very good, moderate table. Robin's eye is much stricter too. If you want to do Robin's eye, you can do Robin's eye as well. And it gives you is a Robin's eye table. Nicely done. That's for observational data sets. Now, it's this Robin's eye is actually not very happy with this. It says that there are two cases where there was some deviation of the intended intervention might have occurred, and there's limited discussion on missing data potentially affecting reliability. Okay, so I'll just say quotes along with page numbers, yeah? Now it's given exact quotes, page 3, page 2. So if you like Robin's eye, this will give you even better than the Newcastle, yeah? Can you see quotes? This is critical because it gives you a quote, then you know how it's done exactly, and therefore then you can confirm the result. That's not this. So that's in essence what we use AI for. You don't use AI to do the job. You use AI. Well, you can use either one, Robbins or Newcastle. Robbins is very time consuming. It take up to an hour per paper. Very few people use it for that reason. But Newcastle otherwise is quite old. So I don't know. I mean, it's up to you. I personally think Robbins is a little bit better. Is a little bit better, but in real life, I don't use Robbins because it takes so much time. It takes an hour per paper. But obviously, we're using these tools because it gives you the code. You can just use this really, really rapidly. And I think this is actually more accurate than the human one. That's my personal opinion. Having obviously, but having developed these tools and naughty. Resco bias one is the next one. Let's go bias one. Now, let's say, no, so we can do a clinical trial in this, any clinical trial. So we'll say PubMed. Put a trial in. Orbiter. It's a big cardiology trial published recently. Double-blind randomized control trial. Download the full text. Although in this case, what I might do is because ChatGPT has become quite good, I'll say I'll just give it this one. I'll be a bit lazy. Although giving it the PDF is a bit better overall, but in this case, I'm being lazy. So I'm just going to give it this. Poof. I'm not going to tell it to do anything else because I've done the code already for this. Risk of bias one. The risk of bias one is the old one. Risk of bias two is the new one. Can you see? So this, it does all the different, selection bias, whether random sequence was it properly generated, like with a computer, was it concealed that what the randomization was, were the personnel blinded, were the outcomes done independently, were a lot of patients lost, only was there selective reporting going on, were there other studies of bias, yeah? And now you can say quotes, and we'll give you quotes. Guys, you guys have to do this exercise now. You have to find this risk of bias one, and then you have to find a trial. You can use the orbital trial if you want. But can you see he's got all these codes now, which is amazing, yeah? Codes, table. See, I've designed it to even accept one word answers. And here's a very nice, beautiful table about this. Voila. So risk of bias one has become a little bit unpopular. Now you can do it as a CSV file as well. CSV file are universal files because they don't have any messages on them. Now let's do risk of bias two. Now risk of bias two is the new kid on the block. It is a bit like Robbins. It's extremely advanced, but also extremely difficult to use. Yeah, it's not easy to use. I want you guys to try both. Risk of bias one, risk of bias two. Oh. Sometimes you have to tell it to do what to do. Yeah, so it's telling you all of the different thingies. Low risk of bias. So the is giving all of this. Yeah, in a bit of detail. It says why is it low risk? Now I've done this simply, but you can do it in a bit more detail. Oh, so what I'll do is, if I wanted to give it quotes, then you have to give it the PDF because for some reason, oh, spiral. I so this is locked behind something. That's why. That's why I couldn't access the PDF directly. So now I've got the. Is that the PDF? And so then you download it. That's something you have to understand that often enough ChatGPT can't access PDFs. So now that I've got it, save. Then I go back and this time I'll solve the problem. That's important to remember. Try and give it the PDF. Yay. Voila. See, now it's doing it really nicely. Let me give myself 5 stars. Even more detail. Guys, how are you doing on your end? You guys doing it, getting it done? What do you guys think? Can you see how this would work really well? For example, it says measurement of objectives, it says all of it in a bit of detail. Yeah, and then give you a table. Voila. Ooh, looks great. Okay, any questions about this? And have you guys done it all? Any questions? Did it? Yes. Personal preference. I mean, Newcastle and Risco Bias 1 are easy to use, but Robbins 2, sorry, Robbins and Risco Bias 2 are more popular, but they're tricky. Yeah? Any questions, guys, about this? Have you guys managed to do the Risco Bias 1 and 2? Let me just show you one more thing. This is quite funny. This is how they generate the stories, by the way. This is as an HTML file. All right, guys, have you done your thing? We'll probably end with the story again once ChatGPT has done it. Guys, anything else you want to ask about this? The silence is deafening. No questions. What does it say here? Mr. Start, go back and rewatch to how access the truth. Lectures on network meta-analysis. Oh, we can go network meta-analysis later, but that's basically is lots of pairwise meta-analysis together. Yeah, I know how to use network meta-analysis, but it's not as straightforward as you would think. Let's do this first. Okay, this story is taking too long. Okay, fine. So I think we're probably going to stop here. Um, and any questions, guys, at the end? Guys, any questions? Do you understand how these tools work? They work really, really well. And just one last, and I'll show you. You just have to search in public GPTs with the 786M3 code, and you should be able to find all of them. There's got a pile of them. You know, the protocol writer, Newcastle Ottawa. There's even stuff that will write your intro and discussion for you. By the way, if you well, it doesn't really write it for you. What it does is gives you the uh, there's some that will help you write your results section, because if you take the meta-analysis stuff and give it, and then it'll write the results section for you, which is kosher, that's allowed. But for the other, for the intro and the discussion business, then you need to, it will give you the what's called the code, the references and the codes, and then you rewrite that into a proper intro and discussion. Yeah, but we'll cover that next time. Okay, I'm going to stop here now unless somebody has any questions, guys. No, nothing. Cynthia, Suyan, Joanne, Sandra, Kareem, Rosie. No. Oh my god, the silence is deafening. Okay, fine. I will stop the meeting then. How do you stop the meeting? End. Great, thanks. Okay, fine. Thank you, guys.